All right, the story that we are tracking at this moment. The Srinivasan versus Anurag Thakur Rao has taken a new course as it has now become Srinivasan versus the BCCI. The board is standing behind its secretary Anurag Thakur and it's therefore Mulling taking action against their former president N. Srinivasan. According to sources close to headlines today, Srinivasan fears that the BCCI will recall him from the post of ICC chairman, and discussions to do so are already on, and it is most likely to happen in September 2015, if not earlier. Also, the BCCI is ready to give the green light to India's tour to Bangladesh, which Srinivasan was against. ICC chairman Srinivasan had a fallout with the former ICC president Mustafa Kamal in the trophy row in Australia, and so was desperate to get the tour cancelled. Now, if that's not all, the board is expected to shift its headquarters back to Mumbai from Chennai. Srinivasan had set up the office in Chennai to ensure he could control the organization better. President Dalmia has most of the members are in sync with this idea, and chances are this could happen very, very soon. Let's quickly go across to Boria Majumdar, who joins us from Kolkata on this exclusive information. Boria, a lot of bits of information that we are breaking here at this moment. Number one, all of it perhaps hinting one thing particularly, that the news within the BCCI as well as the ICC seems to be tightening.
Definitely within the BCCI, Sanket. The fact of the matter is Srinivasan is there in the ICC as BCCI's nominee. So if the BCCI doesn't want him there, he's not there. It's as simple as that. And from what I now know, the BCCI is planning to call a special general meeting also very soon. Now, if that happens, as of now, Srinivasan's position in the ICC is perhaps okay till September. Move was on to remove him from his position in September. But if there is a special general meeting called in May, and I'm getting to know that it might be on the 24th of May. If that happens, Srinivasan's position in the ICC can be, in jeopardy before September as well, as soon as May, within 1 month from now. The second piece of information that you just aired there, it's absolutely correct that, the Bangladesh tour will go on. India's coach will be appointed, the Bangladesh tour will happen. Mr. Srinivasan was at loggerheads with the ICC president, Bangladeshi Mustafa Kamal, and wanted the board to cancel that tour and side with him. That's not going to happen. The third piece of information, just one point of clarification. The headquarter is in Mumbai, Sanket. Srinivasan had set up an office in Chennai, and the BCCI now wants to move that office away from Chennai. Anurag Thakur is keen to operate out of the headquarters in Mumbai. So all of it wants to be concentrated out of Mumbai. And the underlying principle is simple, that if there is an office in Chennai, and importantly the treasurer's office is in Chennai, the board's mood is that if the treasurer's office is in Chennai, Srinivasan gets to know all transactions, all details, and can still try and control, which they will not want to allow henceforth. So in the Sunday working committee meeting, there was already a discussion on this, and if I understand the mood right, they want to relocate the treasurer's office out of Chennai and concentrate everything in Mumbai.
Now, Nikhil as well as Pradeep Magazine are also here in the studio. Morning to both of you gentlemen. I'll ask you this question first, Nikhil. Do you think that all of this is happening because there has been a sort of a regime change in the BCCI, court-ordered regime change, and that is why this grip that N. Srinivasan had in most of the functions, perhaps what made him very, very strong within and outside the organization, that is eventually being cut now?
Well, I guess, Sanket, this is nothing really new happening. I think that regime change that you talk about, each time the regime changes, maybe not of this magnitude, but similar sort of things have happened. The president that is on his way out is slapped on with some sort of charges of whatever it might be, it may be. So nothing really new, but it's just unfortunate that how the ICC is getting involved in this, because of being the custodians, you'd expect them to be above all this. Them writing a mail to Anurag Thakur without verifying the details of that gentleman who says is a suspect or a bookie, and then in the brackets you write it's still unverified. So that coming from the ICC is a little surprising to me.
Absolutely. Mr. Magazine, what is your assessment of the way things are actually going on? Perhaps an effort being made, number one, on the part of Mr. Srinivasan to somehow keep that control keep that control over the organization make certain claims. Of course, the BCCI this time around, it almost appears, whether it is the letter war that Nikhil is mentioning or these bits of information that are coming in now, the BCCI this time around is in no mood to relent.
You know, we know what's happening in the sense that, you know, there is these two factions. Srinivasan has been thrown out from the BCCI, right, yet he retains his position as ICC chairman, and he knows he is under threat, so he retaliates by using his office. All this is it's very ugly. But its genesis lies where? It lies in the original conflict of interests. It lies in the fact that the board, of which even this regime, Anurag Thakur was part of Srinivasan's regime, they never tried to make any effort to clean up. It happened because of the Supreme Court. Now for Srinivasan to resort to these kind of, like I've seen that, everyone has seen that letter. Now if ICC's Dave Richardson writes to the ICC, to Indian president and says that these are unconfirmed reports, it doesn't make sense to me. I don't know whether they have done it earlier. So much has happened. See, ICC's own chairman is a tainted man. How come the ICC is accepting that? Why can't it write to Indian board saying that is it right for you to nominate a person whom the court has ordered to not to be there? So in all this mess, I think the Indian board mess has gone over to the ICC just because Srinivasan is heading, and all this doesn't augur well for anyone. And
ICC is the supreme body. It is the custodians of the game.
Absolutely.
So them writing and getting into internal politics doesn't make sense. You know, they got to be above all this. That's why when that mail came, you know, either the ICC shared, well, the regime has changed it, you know, with their anti-corruption unit or whatever, the suspected bookies have been the suspected individuals. These are the name of the list. You know, these are confirmed, these are yet not to be confirmed, but we suspect this is the report given to us by the anti-corruption unit.
Absolutely.
And the new president is asked whether you can investigate these individuals further, because you probably have a better hold, and ask the local authorities to get involved and verify. If anything concrete comes to us, please share those details with us as well. You can't write, you know, that this gentleman was seeing, having, you know, tea or coffee, and he's a suspect, but unverified. You know,
absolutely. There is an anti-corruption unit, an ACSU wing. I mean, there is a lot that is with the ICC or the BCCI to actually identify what and get into the specifics rather than just generalities.
And you know, there is also another very mysterious angle to it. See, the mail says that this is a freelance journalist who has kind of a complaint, who's clicked these pictures. Now, who is this freelance journalist? Reports suggest that he's someone who is close to Srinivasan's camp. I believe somewhere he's listed also as a member of a legal team of Srinivasan's. So all this becomes so messy that it embarrasses Indian cricket more and more.
Absolutely. And at a time when the Supreme Court, where everyone is trying to initiate the effort of cleaning our cricket, it does make things quite messy. But Bodia, the point that Mr. Magazine was making just a short while ago, I mean, it's very comfortable right now for certain present members in the BCCI to take certain hard positions against Mr. N. Srinivasan. I mean, there were a couple of these people who were present in the previous regime as well. I would want to assume, or many in the country will assume, that it is the Supreme Court's pressure. It is the mandate at this moment, or purely for perception's sake. At this moment, it's very convenient to take these positions.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, make no mistake about that. It has been a Supreme Court and the media. I mean, don't rule out the role of the media here. I mean, the last couple of years, time and again the Supreme Court has said, get your house in order, no action. Time and again the Supreme Court has said, come on, it is important to take action. Even in the last, if you remember in November, in the BCCI meeting, they actually stood behind Sundar Raman. They said, we will back Sundar Raman. So unless it was the Supreme Court and the highest judiciary of the land and the media, which tried to bring all of these things into light and campaign against corruption, BCCI, none of the members over the last couple of years, except maybe 2 or 3, raised voices against Mr. Srinivasan. So absolutely Pradeep is right on that. But think about this. You know, the ICC getting involved. I mean, even in the ICC, why are we saying the BCCI? Not a single member of the ICC executive opposed Mr. Srinivasan after the Supreme Court barred him. Think, he is the BCCI's nominee, right? He is supposed to put forth the BCCI's point of view. Now, he is nobody in the BCCI. He doesn't even attend working committee meetings. He is not even allowed to enter any of these meetings. So, what point of view will he put forth in the ICC? Despite that, the ICC is silent.
Absolutely.
So, it's a weird situation that how can a man who has been barred from attending BCCI meetings attend ICC meetings as BCCI's nominee. So it's a peculiar case.
And that is why perhaps rethink happening within the BCCI on 3 counts. And let me get in Rasesh over here. Rasesh, when are we expecting a decision in this regard? Of course, this is a proposal stage. This is something that the BCCI is mulling. It's an idea with which the BCCI is actually toying. Purely on 3 counts, what we are breaking here on Headlines Today. What are we saying here on Headlines Today? The information that we have got at this moment. Number 1, the board is actually thinking of recalling N. Srinivasan as the ICC chief. The board is also contemplating that the Bangladesh tour that was supposed to happen, which apparently Srinivasan was not allowing to happen because of the Mustafa Kamal Rao, that a go-ahead will be given to that as well, India's and Bangladesh tour. The third bit of information, Rasesh, and this is where I would want you to come in, is the fact that there was an office that was made in Chennai. Of course, the headquarters of the BCCI is in Mumbai, but an office was made in Chennai, perhaps to facilitate the functioning of the BCCI and control over the BCCI by Mr. Srinivasan. Now, what exactly was the benefit that was there with this Chennai office that Srinivasan was having, and how are things going to change at this moment if this decision is taken?
Sanket, they say there is a home advantage factor in the game of cricket, but I would think in case of boardroom meetings, no such home advantage factor works. Yet Mr. Srinivasan assumed that that was the case all along. In fact, the word going around when the AGM was held in Chennai was that this is perhaps the last BCCI meeting that one would see in Chennai for a while. And, that was an indicator there itself. In fact, the talk then itself was Anurag Thakur at that point in time coming on record and saying that Mr. Srinivasan's nomination to the ICC would continue till September and then it would be reevaluated. In fact, the word now is that it could be even earlier. Board is mulling over it. Of course, there is a certain procedure involved to it. If the board wants to prepone that possibility, then they need the necessary numbers. There is an SGM that needs to be called. The present dispensation will take a call on that, whether they got the necessary numbers. The sense right now is that Mr. Srinivasan is sidelined, but they would want to be very sure not to embarrass him on that front. But Mr. Srinivasan's options are quite numbered now. We're right in saying that the number of the board activities would now function. The functional aspect of the BCCI would now be carried out from the BCCI headquarters here in Mumbai. Of course, Anurag Thakur being based in Delhi and Jagmohan Dalmia being based in Calcutta, those would be a couple of bases where the meetings would be held. But the power center has begun to shift from Chennai to Mumbai quite radically, and that is something that is on the cards.
Absolutely. Rasesh, Boria, Nikhil, as well as Pradeep Magazine, do stay on with us. Welcome back. So there is a letter war within the BCCI. There is information that the Chennai office will be shifted back to Mumbai. There is information that the Bangladesh tour, which apparently Mr. Srinivasan was trying to stall, that may be on course, as well as the information, the big information, that the BCCI could actually be mulling of recalling Mr. Srinivasan, who is the BCCI's nominee there at the ICC. Let's quickly go across to Boria also. Boria, when exactly is the BCCI expected to take these decisions?
Sanket, firstly, it's important to explain by way of background. I mean, a little bit of a background for the lay viewer as to what we are talking about. I mean, Mr. Srinivasan is there in the ICC as ICC chairman, as BCCI's nominee. So as and when the BCCI, if they have the numbers, want to call him back, they can. There is a procedure in place, but if they want to do that, they can. You asked me when. It can be as early as May. This morning, from what I am getting to know, is there might be a special general body meeting as early as May, where a decision can be taken to this effect, that Mr. Srinivasan will no longer continue to be India's nominee in the ICC. From what I know, a resolution was signed at the AGM in March that he'll be there till September. But in the changed circumstances, it can be as early as May that Mr. Srinivasan is recalled. Second point that we've just broken, the Chennai office, that is a treasurer's office. So let's be very clear about it. The treasurer's office and the board doesn't want Mr. Srinivasan have access to any of its financial transactions, which is why it doesn't want Anirudh Chaudhary to function out of the Chennai office. In the Sunday meeting, there was a debate on this. Anirudh wanted the office to be in Chennai, but it has not been finalized yet. Chances are it will be relocated. So in every sense, Mr. Srinivasan is being cornered within his own board.
Okay, Mr. Magazine, we're heading into a break, but last word to you. How exactly do you see this, moving forward? The way this BCCI versus Srinivasan battle is happening, all these decisions that are pending at this moment but are being thought about, How do you see things actually panning out in the future?
Well, I think Srinivasan's game is over. That's what the impression I get from all that what has happened. He is obviously going to be withdrawn, whether now or in September. But I think in the larger picture, it's a Supreme Court panel. What decision it gives, what does it tell the board that what all reforms it has to do? See, those reforms are mandatory on the board. They will have to agree to that. So in the larger context of how the board reforms itself depends on what Mr. Lola committee submits its report to the Supreme Court.
Okay, okay. Mr. Magazine, Nikhil, Boria as well as Rasesh, many thanks for joining us on this story. So it's Srinivasan versus Anurag Thakur. What was the battle between these two individuals has now almost become Srinivasan versus the Board of Control for Cricket in India. The board is standing behind its secretary Anurag Thakur, and therefore is mulling taking action against former President N. Srinivasan.